Hey traders, welcome back to another Sunday video. I hope you're doing well and I hope you had a nice weekend. Today we're going to be taking a look at the markets for the week ahead, and fair warning, I'm actually recording this Friday afternoon. I am taking a trip this weekend, so I won't be able to do it at the usual time, but regardless, this should still be helpful, useful information going into your trading week ahead. Here's the dollar, and the dollar pulled back substantially on Friday, or the day I'm recording this, due to the NFP event really putting some pressure on the dollar. You can see price came all the way down, but narrowly found support, at least at the time of filming this video, 104.2, holding pretty well so far despite this major sell-off. This to me shows the overall strength of the US dollar despite some short-term volatility due to NFP. I think there is room for the dollar to climb back from here. And going into this week, that is predominantly what I will be looking for in terms of setups, predominantly looking for USD bullish setups. So there you go. Let's jump into the overall view. Now that we've got the dollar, let's go actually into some individual currency pairs and see if we can find some setups there. Another thing I should note is that gold came down heavy, drove up heavy today as the dollar fell down. And it's a really interesting thing to watch because notice, if you're watching gold, you have to show some respect to this incredible bullish breakout that we saw at 1856. You can see price broke through that level, and with this decisive candle, again, by the time of watching this, something may have changed a little bit from where I leave it since there are still hours open of the market. But this close looks very, very strong, at least at the time of filming this. So as we come to this point here and we break through it, that's a pretty strong level for the gold market. So despite dollar strength being really hurt by this sell-off recently, gold seems to actually have room to climb here. And looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see that, again, downward structure was really compromised with this upward push. So gold will definitely not be something that I'm looking to short despite my dollar bullish idea. Despite that, for the gold bulls, I think it's possible we could see continued push to the upside and possibly even a retest of this 1890 mark. If we look left, you can see that this again acted as major resistance for sellers in the past. I think gold has room to potentially expand up into that area going into the week ahead. We'll see if that is correct. It may not be immediately like that, but again, overall conditions changing from a technical chart perspective on the gold market. Now we'll take a look at the euro, which in my view looks like we might have found some prospective resistance that could actually hold very well. Look at what happened price several times now after retesting this zone. Sellers came in heavy and pushed it back lower. Now I'll give you guys some additional data when looking at the edge finder. You can see the euro gets a strong sell reading overall. And I want to go through this with you guys a little bit as to why I'm still bullish on the US dollar pairs. And I'll show you this starting with the smart money tracker. So the smart money tracker shows us what institutional traders are buying and selling through the COT report. And what we can see is that right now, institutional money is very heavily stacked long on the US dollar. And that's a very important thing to pay attention to because, again, these are the smartest people in the business buying the dollar, and that is something to pay attention to. Despite that, retail sentiment is a bit conflicted now. Now you have some things where people are shorting the buying the Australian dollar, retail traders 80% long here, but retail traders also very long USD-CHF. This is a red flag and a bit conflicting for the dollar viewpoint. To be fair, again, this is pretty mixed across the board. NZD-USD, you can see people favoring NZD over the USD, so shorting the dollar in this case. They're 50-50 on USD-JPY. Euro-USD, 35.65, so retail traders more short on the euro. Despite that, I still think that there's room for the euro to fall. Same with the pound, and dollar CAD is again on the side where retail traders are very, very short USD-CAD. And that brings me to USD-CAD. I wanted to show you guys this chart because check it out. USD-CAD here, a big explosive move recently, and pullbacks actually look pretty interesting to me on this one. So pullbacks into levels like the 38.2% or even the 61.8% going into the week ahead could act as major levels of support in this overall upward trend that we've seen going on with the dollar CAD. And we'll see if that continues. But again, overall momentum here favors the upside. And we are, again, looking predominantly to be long on that one inside of the Signals group. Speaking of Signals group, if you're not already inside of the group and you would like to join us, we share all sorts of stuff. You can see all the trades being taken by myself and my team. If that's something you're interested in, check it out down below in the description. There is a code. If you use code YTVIP, it'll get you a discount off of the group if that's something that you're interested in joining. You can see the trades being taken by myself, Frank, and Ivan. We share them all inside the group with full explanations, breakdowns, charts, and that sort of thing. So make sure to check that out if you have not already. We're already trying to get more people in there, trying to build a bigger and better community every day. So we'd love to have you join us there. So again, dollar CAD looks interesting. Let's see, what else can we find off this watch list really quick. If I take a look at dollar yen, a trade that I am personally interested in myself. I am looking at this one. I'm saying, wow, we broke that level of support, and now we've come all the way down to our next level of support. And check this out, guys. As soon as we started hitting this support level, we saw some reaction already from the bulls. To me, despite, yes, this being a big sell-off candle, it doesn't necessarily mean that the upward trend is completely dead. Short term, yes, we had a pretty good move to the downside today, but despite that, I think we still have major support levels that could offer continuation basis for this dollar-yen upward trend that we've seen going on. Now, here's the daily chart, and you can see this level has some pretty big significance looking left. This zone here, holding as support, looks very attractive in my personal opinion. If we're wrong about that, I'll be looking to stop out below the lows. But again, if this thing is able to trend higher, looking for higher lows and higher highs to try and trail a stop on something like this. We'll see if I can catch that trade again. That's one that I am personally interested in going into this week. A big one is, of course, the pound. A lot of people watching the pound right now. And the pound USD just narrowly missing the top of this range here. You can see we are looking at a daily chart. Let's drop it down to the 4-hour chart. And you can see this zone of resistance came back into play. But one thing that really sketches me out about the pound is that this was such a beautiful setup. This retest into this zone, I really like that as a possible short, and it completely did not work out. We've come all the way back up into this level of resistance. I would say this one looks bearish from here, as we do get some confirmation from the edge finder. On the short side, you can see GBP-USD as a strong sell. What this is showing us is that across all the metrics that we study, interest rates, unemployment, GDP, trend, seasonality, COT data, retail sentiment, we look at all these, and overall we get a really bearish reading for the pound. Despite that though, technical price action does not look super beautiful right now. So I'm not in love with this particular chart. So far, out of the things that I've mentioned, I like dollar CAD, dollar yen, etc. So a couple ideas there to consider. I want to show you guys some non-USD pairs for just a second. Let's look at Euro Yen. And Euro Yen actually gets a buy rating, which is really interesting considering we have this nice overall upward trend. And looking left, you have a key level of support coming back into focus here at the time of recording this video. To me, this area looks like we should find some relief off of this. Again, especially if we're going to consistently stay in this overall upward trend on EURUSD. This one gets a bullish reading on the edge finder, scoring high at COT data, showing again, if we go look at the smart money tracker, the yen very short by institutional traders. Meanwhile, the euro, the largest long position ratio wise on the list, very heavily bought by institutional money, which is really interesting that we see this dip, and despite the COT data, that could actually offer some level of support based on that extra confluence we get from the edge finder. Guys, if you want access to the edge finder, the link to this will be down below in the description, and you can actually get access to the edge finder for a discounted rate if you use code YTVIP at checkout. Again, the link is down below in the description if that's something you're interested in getting access to. That's going to wrap up today's video. I know it's a bit short, but again, I've got to head out we're going to Nashville. If you're familiar with Nashville, it's a really fun place. We're going there for the weekend. So thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great trading week ahead.